Stand for the pledge, please.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. This is Monday, April 18th. If you have any questions, business comments with us, come up to one of these microphones, give us your name and address. Take the roll, please.
Cedar.
Here.
Foley.
Here.
Kinsfater.
Here.
Kleeman.
Here.
Cuffa.
Here.
Laporte.
Here.
McCartney.
Here.
All present, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Just for a quick recap, we did have a work session at 6 o'clock, talked about roads, and we are moving forward with gathering information and trying to put together some kind of program that makes sense in the near future. We'll have more updates as we get more information. Number 4 is the consent agenda. A is the City Council minutes of April 4th, 2016 regular meeting, recommendation approved, and the Harbor Commission draft minutes of April 2nd, 2016 meeting, recommendation received.
I move to approve.
I'll support.
All right, motion made, support. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we'll go to 5, presentations. A, 2014-15 annual audit presentation, Abraham and Gaffney. Do you want to say a couple things, or?
Speakers?
Yeah, it is. Well, good evening. Thank you for having me. I'm Bill Tucker from Abraham and Gaffney. Let's go over quickly the materials that were handed out to you tonight in your packets. 2 different documents. The first document is the bound financial statements for September 30th, 2015. This has our opinion on the financial statements within this document, all the necessary reports to be in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles as well, and no disclosures as well within that document. The second item that we have for you is the audit presentation outline. So this is what I'm going to use for my audit presentation. And if everybody wanted to follow along with this, I'm going to go page by page by page through this document, make it a little bit easier for everybody to follow along. I do believe there's copies for the public back there as well, so I know we talked about that last year during the presentation, so I think there's additional copies back there. Before I get started as well, I want to take a minute and thank Mike, Russ, and the rest of the team, for the rest of the staff, for their courtesy and cooperation throughout the audit process. Everything did go very smooth again this year, so we do appreciate everybody's hard work in getting ready for the audit process. All right, the first page that everybody will turn to in the audit presentation outline is the independent auditor's report. This is Roman numeral number 1 of the financial statements. The purpose of an audit is to provide opinion as to the fair presentation of the financial statements in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. It's not to detect fraud, and it's not to give you an opinion on your internal controls. Within the independent auditor's report, we're providing our opinion on your financial statements. And our opinion is on the 9 opinion units of the city. Those 9 opinion units are located within the first paragraph, and they are the governmental activities, the business type activities, the aggregate discretely presented component units, each major fund, in which there was 5 major funds in the current year, the general fund, the major street fund, the sewer fund, the water fund, and the harbor fund. And then the last opinion unit is the aggregate remaining fund information. Our opinion on each of those 9 opinion units is at the top of the second page, in which it states, in our opinion, based on our audit and the reports of other auditors, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects. That's what we consider to be an unmodified or clean opinion, and that's the best opinion you can receive on your financial statements. The next paragraph that I wanted to talk about is actually the next paragraph down, related to the change in accounting principles in 2015. The city implemented GASB statement number 68 and GASB statement number 71. As a result, the financial statements now recognize the city's unfunded defined pension benefit obligation as a liability for the first time, and more comprehensively and comparably measures the annual cost of pension benefits. So as I walk through the financial statements with you today, I'll definitely point out those numbers to you for the net pension liability to give you an idea where you're at funding-wise for your pension plan. All right. The next page that we'll turn to in the presentation outline is the statement of net position. The statement of net position is on the full accrual basis of accounting. This is a snapshot of your assets, deferred outflows of resources, liabilities, deferred inflows of resources, and net position at September 30th, 2015. Like I mentioned, it is presented on the full accrual basis of accounting, just like a business or a nonprofit organization. It includes your capital assets, your long-term debt, and your net pension liability of the city. This is a statement that we haven't spent a lot of time on in the past. A lot of times we've jumped right to the fund level financial statements dealing with your general fund. But because that net pension liability is on this statement, the GASB 34 statements, I did want to walk through that with you today and just point out those numbers to you. So the first number I wanted to look at is the net pension liability, which is about the 7th or 8th number up from the bottom. For your governmental activities, that's a total dollar amount of $5,516,081. And a portion is allocated also to your business type activities, and that dollar amount is $1,941,106. So again, this is the first time that those have been presented in your financial statements. Before, we've always had that information in your financial statements as a note disclosure, but it has not been on the statements as recorded as a liability. So that does have effect on your bottom line numbers or your net position numbers. As you can see, the second number up from the bottom is your unrestricted net position for your governmental activities, which is actually a negative number in the current year of $1.6 million. That is a trend, though, we've seen this year for a lot of municipalities, seeing that unrestricted number being a negative for the first time. And the result of that is because of that net pension liability being reported. And then also your business type activities number is still a positive, but that definitely has decreased significantly from 2014 compared to 2015. So your net pension liability, the next page I'll turn to is actually a page that's in your financial statements, which is page number 46. But I thought this was a good time to really go over that net pension liability number because it is a big number within your financial statements. So page 46 of the financial statements really gives you a little bit of detail to what your total pension liability is, what's sitting there as an investment with MERS as your sitting aside for pensions, and then kind of what percentage we're looking at that you're funded at. So the first number I would like to look at is your total pension liability ending December 31st, 2014, which is about the 7th number down from the top of $19,678,743. So that's your total pension liability for the city. That is offset by the investments that you have with MERS. So that is the 5th number up from the bottom. Plan fiduciary net position of $12,221,556. So your total pension liability minus your investments that you have gives you that net pension liability number of $7.4 million. So I just wanted to give you an idea of how we come to those numbers for you. Like I said, it is a very significant number for the city. The next number that we'll look at, and we'll kind of continue to look at over the years, is your planned fiduciary net position as a percentage of total pension liability. And that's the 3rd number up from the bottom of 62%. That's a little bit lower than what we've seen across the board for a lot of other municipalities in the state. If I had to say an average right now that we're seeing is 70 to 75% is the average where municipalities are funded at for their pension plans. So you guys are a little bit lower than the average that I've seen across the state. So that's one area that you could potentially put some money into. Obviously, you have other liabilities that are out there and other things going on in the city, but that number, like I said, on average across the state would be 70 to 75%. Before I move on to the other portions of the financial statement, is there any questions on the net pension liability or GASB 68 in general? Okay. I'll continue to move on through the financial statements then. All right, the next page that we'll turn to in the financial statements is page number 2. So this is the revenues and expenses related to page number 1, the statement of net position that we went over briefly. Again, I won't spend a ton of time on this. This is a GASB 34 statement where it kind of brings together all the funds into one statement. Again, this is on the full accrual basis of accounting. It includes the depreciation expense of capital assets, excludes purchases of capital assets, and principal payments on long-term debt. This statement's a little bit different than some of the other statements. It reads left to right and top to bottom. So it starts off with your expenses for your primary government, the government activities and the business type activities. That moves into your program revenues. So your charge for services, your operating capital grants that are being generated directly by those programs. So for instance, your public safety has expenses of $1.5 million, but obviously they're not generating enough to cover that $1.5 million, which is expected. They're not expected to be generating it. It's not operating like a business. So they come across, they have charge for services of $38,000 and operating grants of $16,000, leaving them with a negative number. That number is offset by the numbers at the bottom of the page, the general revenues, which is property taxes, state share revenues, used to offset those programs of the government. So just a little bit of, like I said, that one's a little bit different just to read through and just gives you a little bit of detail there of reading through those statements. All right. From there, I'd like to turn to page number 3 of the financial statements, the next page. Page number 3 of the financial statements is the governmental funds balance sheet. This is a snapshot of your assets, liabilities, deferred inflows of resources, and fund balance at September 30th, 2015. This is kind of the point where we would normally start off with the fund level financial statements and focusing on that general fund. The far left column is what we tend to focus on over the last couple of years. So I'll look at the general fund. The number that we'd like to look at on this page is the total fund balance number, the second number up from the bottom, and some of those fund balance categories as well. You had total general fund balance of $3,347,722, with portions that are considered to be non-spendable for such things as prepaid expenses, leaving you with a assigned and unassigned fund balance in the general fund of, and this is the third and fourth number up from the bottom, add together, of $3,068,690 that is available for expenditures in future periods. This dollar amount represents approximately 86% of your annual operating expenses, and it's pretty comparable to last year. Last year was actually about 79% of your annual operating expenses. Our minimum recommendation that we like to see in there is a 15 to 20%, so you guys are well above that minimum recommendation. Have good fund balance for the city. All right. From there, I'll turn to the next page, page number 5 of the financial statements. Again, focusing on that far left column for the general fund. This is your statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balances for the year ended September 30th, 2015. Looking at that far left column, you had total revenues in 2015 of $3,690,248. That was an increase of approximately $48,000 or 1.3% from 2014 to 2015. So pretty stagnant revenues. Really the only fluctuation that we saw within there that was even anywhere close to significant was the tax revenue. Your tax revenues were up about $53,000. That was just related to the small increase in the taxable values within the city. Moving down the page to your expenditures, you had total expenditures in 2015 of $2,910,950. That was a decrease of approximately $137,000 or 4.7% from 2014 to 2015. Two different areas that we saw fluctuations within those expenditures. The first area was your general government expenditures decreased approximately $68,000. The most significant reductions coming from the retirement of the city clerk. So there was a larger pay base and also a sick payout in 2014. The next area that we saw fluctuation within those expenditures was your public safety expenditures. There wasn't a significant fluctuation there, but it was down about $42,000. And mainly the reduction that we saw within there was related to wages, new employees coming in just being at a little bit lower rate than the other employees. All right. From there, we have a couple graphs and charts for you. The first chart is a 5-year analysis of your general fund revenues, expenditures, and fund balance. As you can see from this chart, the revenues have exceeded expenditures for the last 5 years. So you have that good positive trend in that green column. Your fund balance continuing to increase over those 5-year trends. So good positive trend there for the city. The next two charts that we have for you, this is two pie charts. This is the composition of your general fund revenues and expenditures. The first one is your general fund revenue composition. Largest portion of your revenues coming in from taxes at 68% of your total revenues. That's consistent with the previous year. Last year was about 67% of your total revenues coming in from taxes. And the bottom chart is your general fund expenditures. Largest portion of your pie for your expenditures is the public safety expenditures at 30%. That was consistent with the previous year. Last year was also 30%. And then the second largest piece of the pie is your general government expenditures at 19%. Again, consistent with last year. Last year was 20% of your total expenditures. The next two pages that we have for you in the financial statement presentation is the independent auditors report on internal control or financial reporting. I wanted to point out to the council that we did not identify any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in the internal control or financial reporting for the city. So that is kind of the first page. The second page relates to the fund deficit that you continue to have within the reserve pension tax levy fund. So that is something that's just a recurring comment related to that deficit position that you guys are making progress towards eliminating with this. And I know you filed a deficit elimination plan already with the state of Michigan last year or 2 years ago for that as well. All right. That's all I planned to go over. Did anybody have any questions, anything I talked about or anything else they saw within the financial statements?
On the page 46, we were at 62%. Are we required by law to get that to a certain percentage by any?
You're not required by law to get it to a certain percentage. You're required by law to meet your annual required contribution that MERS gives you. That's your requirement, but you are not required to get to a certain percentage. I was going based on the averages that we've been seeing across the state. Like I said, you guys are a little bit lower than the norm that we're seeing with our municipalities.
To answer your question a little bit more, Mike, MERS has made some changes. So what they're doing is they realize that the ARC, the annual required contributions, that maybe historically haven't been high enough based on maybe people are living longer and different different factors. So what they're doing is they're shrinking the period they're allowing you to take to shrink your unfunded liability. So each year we're going to see a spike up in what they're going to ask us to put in as far as a required contribution.
And that's where you said that came from the actuaries that they're doing. All right. I'm good.
Any questions from the audience? then, thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Guess I'll,
Oh, supply.
yeah, I guess I'll just take a quick minute and tell Mr. Booth, keep up the good work, because it looks like we're in pretty good. At 15 to 20, that's still the good number.
15 to 20%, that gives you kind of about 2 to 3 months worth of fund balance that would be sitting in fund balance if you were to be at that percentage. Obviously, you guys are at 85%. That sitting fund balance is available for expenditures in future periods, so obviously that's really.
All right. Thank you. All right, then we will move to 5B. Proclamation designating April 29th, 2016 as Arbor Day. I think, Annette, you told me this is our 18th year as being recognized?
Tree City USA, yes. City of St. Clair is going into its 18th year.
So I'll read this proclamation so everyone can enjoy and be proud of this. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for planting trees. This holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. Trees reduce erosion by precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. Trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. Trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. Trees are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Whereas the City of St. Clair has been recognized as a Tree City USA by the National Arbor Day Foundation and desires to continue its tree planting ways, I now therefore, by the authority vested in me as mayor of the City of St. Clair, do proclaim that April 29th, 2016 as Arbor Day in the City of St. Clair. I urge all citizens to support efforts to care for trees, woodlands, and support our community forestry programs. I urge all citizens to plant trees, gladden the hearts, promote the well-being of present and future generations. April 29th, 2016. Keep that in mind. Thank you. All right, we'll go to number 6. Ordinances Resolution A, Ordinance Introduction 2016-05, Appendix B, Zoning Supplementary Height Regulations. Okay, who's this? Mr. Laporte, are you on this?
Yeah,
Or?
if I get stuck, I think Dee can help. This is something we've been working on a while. Came to the towers for cell phones and that type of thing. I think it started when there was a company looking out to go by CVS. And our current ordinance calls for large setback from a fence or any public ground or anything like that. And the newer towers, if I remember right, they break down on themselves. Is there anything that happens now? They kind of, so we're updating the zoning ordinance. Did I thumb that out right, Dee? No? Well, we'll do that. But the reason you've got so many ordinances tonight, planning, instead of bringing them to you one at a time, we figured we'd wait until we had quite a few of them and just bring them to council at one time.
All right. We'll take these one at a time. These are the introductions, so they'll come back at the next meeting for the adoption.
The fish pond, we were asked some time ago from a home up on North Riverside, it was believed, and they were asking for quite a large pond, and we didn't really have any ordinance or anything, and when we, Planning Commission reviewed it, we determined the depth and the size of the pond should be treated similar to a pool, and so that's why we came up with the ordinance, especially it was in the M29, our finer area. She wanted to put in a large koi pond, right, Dee? Very large koi pond. So that is the purpose of the ordinance, and is to treat it similar, to put restrictions on it. If it's over a certain size, a certain depth, it requires a permit, and there are certain criteria. It has to be fenced like a swimming pool.
All right. Let's deal with A. Can I get a motion to introduce?
So moved, Your Honor.
All right, the motion is made and supported for the ordinance introduction of Part A here, the supplementary height regulations. Are there any questions? All right, we call the roll, please.
Kleeman,
Yes.
Kappa,
Yes.
Laporte,
Yes.
McCartney,
Yes.
Foley,
Yes.
Kinsfater,
Yes.
Cedar.
Yes.
Passed, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. We'll go to B, the introduction for the zoning of the fish ponds.
I would move, Your Honor, to
I'll support.
All right, the motion made and supported to introduce. Questions? Call the roll, please.
Kappa,
Yes.
Laporte,
Yes.
McCartney,
yes.
Foley,
Yes.
Kinsfater.
Yes.
Kleeman,
Yes.
Cedar.
Yes.
Carried, Your Honor.
All right, we will go to C. Ordinance introduction, amendment to zoning ordinance, Article 8B, Downtown Redevelopment District definitions, Sections 5-7 and Section 827.
Your Honor, that was put in there because of the rezoning of the downtown for the brewery. And at the time that the consultant was in town, there was quite a bit of discussion that if we're going to do it for one area of town, it might be better to do it for both, the Clinton corridor and the downtown area. It allows that if there's no, if it happens in a current building, it will be special use. If it's in addition to a current building or a new building, they have to come to council for permit, right, Dee?
I think you got it back. It's permitted in an existing building.
Yeah, but if they go outside the footprint,
Special use for add-ons or new building.
isn't that what I said? All right, that's what I said.
So this is just cleaning up for the microbrewery, and
Right,
that's basically it? That's just for the microbrewery and wine?
yep.
I would move to approve the introduction of the ordinance.
Support.
All right, the motion's made and supported. Is there any questions? Call the roll, please.
Laporte,
Yes.
McCartney.
Yes?
Foley,
Yes.
Kinsfater.
Yes.
Kleeman,
Yes.
Kappa,
Yes.
Cedar.
Yes.
Carried, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. We will go to 7. Yes.
I was under the impression also that in that downtown redevelopment district, Clinton Avenue, you had the definitions defining drive-through, drive-in.
No.
That's in this?
No, that's the next one up.
It's missing,
Next one up.
She, I think, Annette, you grouped them
Some of
all.
them
was all
part of
I did, I grouped them together. Did
grouped
you
them
want that
together.
separately?
As 8B,
I think some of them.
correct?
Correct.
So what
That
else,
was part of it?
what else was in there?
No,
Because
it's,
I was very clear with my question, that this just had to do with microbreweries.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So there should be a D on this, maybe, or no?
You
Well, there's
can,
a
you can
definition.
separate that. It's all under
Well-
Article 8B.
Actually, there should have been, there was also supposed to be drive-through as a special use in the Clinton Avenue district. And the definitions were to clear up what a drive-through entailed. Actually, our zoning ordinance right now just has it as drive-in. So he was just clearing up some of the wording. But I think that was supposed to be part of the 8B changes to the ordinance.
Okay, what is 5-7?
5-7 would be, I
Hold 'em.
believe that would be the definition,
No,
no?
This was
5-7.
included in the ordinance that was
I don't have the
just
book in front of me.
carried.
the definition you got a copy of separately, the definition and then the,
Yeah, 5-7 is the landscaping plan.
Oh, oh,
And then 8.
Okay,
Yeah.
that was just, yeah, that was
Right.
to clear up the
50,
parking
50.
in the regular book.
Well, what article is this under? Because the last page is stapled, and it doesn't point out a section or an article, I mean, I'll read it because the drive-through a business establishment whose method of operation involves the delivery of a product or service directly to a customer inside a motor vehicle, typically through a window or other I can't pronounce that, I'm flustered right now. To a building for use as consumption off premises.
That's the description.
So that's the description, so,
Correct. Where it used to say drive-in, you remember like the A&Ws where you could eat in your car? That's what we wanted to clear up on the definitions. But I was under the impression that you had drive-throughs there also. No?
Is that, that's 8 point,
That would be part of 8.
8.27. 8.27.
As a special use in the Clinton Avenue district.
Right. Okay, that's,
So you have the definition, and you have the motion to change the zoning to make it a special use. Right, Dee?
yes.
It's a special use.
Yes.
And we did skip over one article, which was the parking. Because we didn't talk about that, was provision.
That's 5.7. Landscape parking plan, right?
No, well, it's a little different than what I have from planning, but however you want to number it.
Okay. All right, and now do we need to, what do we need to do to undo that vote, because we have to vote on these separate?
Well, as written, it combined them all as to one introduction. If you would like to separate them, then we can amend the original vote we just did and break it down one by one.
All right,
So we
So-
would need a motion and a second.
I would move to do that.
okay, so now the motion is made and supported, we're gonna separate these out. So call the roll on that, and then we'll
Okay.
come back and separate them.
All right, to this one, we'll be undoing what you just did. McCartney?
Yes.
Foley?
Yes.
Kinsfater?
Yes.
Kleeman?
Yes.
Cuppa?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yeah.
Cedar?
Yes.
Okay?
Okay, so now, 8B, from what I can see, is the,
Fish ponds.
no, 8B is the microbreweries.
They're all under 8B. They're just different parts of Article 8B.
Okay.
If you want to separate them, you would vote on first changing the definition, and then Section 5.7, and then Section 8.27.
Just to clear it up, Section 8B is your downtown redevelopment district, which would include Riverside, Clinton Avenue, Gaslight District on 3rd Street, east and west. So, and that's the way I think the Planning Commission actually did it, as they're actually changing the zoning for Clinton Avenue, for permitted and special uses for these items. That was the intent. I don't know, I don't really know what you have in front of you, so I really can't tell you.
Well, we had, at planning, we had different numbers on them. If this helps, this is how they were broken down. Yeah.
Yeah, 5.7 is the landscape site plans.
That would be in the regular zoning.
Right.
And just so that you know what that was about, there was a section for landscape,
But now he wants to set it.
landscape
You need that.
site plans. And then when you went into the parking, it would called for a landscape drawing for 50 parking spots or more. And then when you get into the site plan, it said 20. So there was a conflict, so we're taking it to 20. The 50 will be gone.
And that's spelled out as 5.7, right? Or, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, that's your regular.
5.7.
Right.
So we can vote on that one first,
Yeah.
correct?
Okay.
Okay, so I guess I'll ask for a motion to approve the landscaping change in Article 5.7 as the number of required spaces to, before you have to have a site plan. That's the first thing we'll deal with.
So moved.
Support.
All right, motion made, supported. Are there any questions about that? Okay, so this is just the landscaping issue. Call the roll, please.
Foley?
Yes.
Kinsfater?
Yes.
Kleeman?
Yes.
Cuffa?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
McCartney?
Yes.
Cedar?
Yes.
Carried, Your
All
Honor.
right, thank you. Now, the next thing, as near as I can figure, is part of 8B, and it's number 5, if you have your planning commission minutes, is the microbrewery, small wine maker, and small distiller as a special approval use for business expanding existing Clinton Avenue.
Right,
Correct?
right.
Okay, so
Wait a
I-
minute, state that again.
Okay. On the planning commission minutes, if you look at number 5, either on the front or the second page, they both say the same thing, basically. Article 8B, Downtown Redevelopment District 827, Schedule of Building Use to amend to permit a microbrew, small winemaker, and small distiller as a special approval use for businesses expanding an existing building or constructing a new building in the Clinton Avenue subdistrict.
I would move to approve that article.
Support.
Any questions? Call the roll, please.
Kinsfater?
Yeah.
Kleeman?
Yes.
Cuffa?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
McCartney?
Yes.
Foley?
Yes.
Cedar?
Yes.
Carried, Your Honor.
All right. Now, this is where I might need your help, Mr. Laporte. From what I can see, it looks like 827 now takes us to number 6 and 7 on the planning commission minutes that are the Article 8B, Downtown Redevelopment District 827, Schedule of Building Use as permitted, or as amended to permit a drive-through facility as a special approval use in the Clinton area sub-district. Article 2 definitions, Section 2.1, would define a drive-through facility. That's the next thing we'll vote on. Okay. So is everybody on track? Am I right, Nancy, on this so far? Okay. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll support.
All right, motion made, support, questions?
This is introduction.
This is introduction, yes. All right, call the roll, please.
Kleeman?
Yes.
Cuffa?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
McCartney?
No.
Foley?
Yes.
Kinsfater?
Yes.
Cedar?
Yes.
Carried, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your patience, everyone. I think. All right. Thanks, Annette. Reports of administration, Mr. Booth.
It's nothing this evening, Your Honor.
Any questions from Mr. Booth tonight? All right. City departments, anybody? Annette, I know you have something.
Yes, I do. Just a reminder of the special election on Tuesday, May 3rd. Polling locations will be open 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. To view your sample ballot, please visit michigan.gov/vote. Thank you.
Thank you. D, authorities, boards, commissions, committee chairs, or council reps.
Yeah, I got one, Bill. Historic Commission, this Thursday and Friday, they're gonna put on a program, they're gonna talk about the old clubs that used to be in St. Clair. And they're gonna have it Thursday at 7 and Friday at 1, down at the museum.
You said clubs,
Yeah, old clubs that were
like
around
card
St. Clair.
clubs and things like that?
Music, study,
Okay.
theater, that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
Whoopee clubs.
Arts, rather with the arts.
Oh, dance club? I'm sorry.
No blind kids.
Prohibition.
It's culture, you know. Culture. It's culture. All right,
I wasn't in school that day.
thank you. We have no unfinished business, number 8. Number 9. New business. A, approve annual budget public hearing date for May 16th, 2016. Mr. Booth?
I would move to approve
I'll
that, Your
support.
Honor.
Not much to add.
This is your big day, you don't. All right, motion's made, supported to set the public hearing for 7 o'clock that evening? Is that what I heard? Any questions?
Now I'll be there.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Go to B. Special events permit, St. Clair Little League Parade. Chief?
Your Honor, I'm in receipt of a request to have approval for a special events permit for the St. Clair Little League to hold their annual opening day parade on Saturday, May the 7th at 9 a.m., which will begin from the St. Clair High School and head out Clinton to the KFC and then into the Little League ballpark. All the necessary documents have been received in compliance with the city. I recommend approval for this event.
Motion to approve.
Support.
All right, motion made, support, questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? C, approve special events permit for Caitlin's Crew 5K Run.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm also in receipt for a request for approval for special events for the Charlie Sanders Foundation to hold their 5K run for Hearts, which is a walk-run on September 10th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., beginning at the Riverview Plaza. This will be the second year that this event is taking place. I recommend approval for this event. They have all the necessary documents and they're in compliance with the city ordinance.
Motion to approve.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Approve MDOT US Bicycle Route 20. Reese?
Thank you. City Council consideration is requested on a recommendation to include downtown St. Clair in the MDOT US Bicycle Route 20. I believe you have a copy of the current route and map. And you can see, and I did make copies for the public too, that the current route bypasses downtown St. Clair. So we would like the reroute. It would bring bicycles downtown St. Clair. They would go by the boat harbor, which has campsites available for bicyclists if they're interested. And then, so that would become downtown on M29. And then we're recommending that the route go up Vine Street so we can connect to the Bridge to Bay Trail on Kearney Drive. And it'll take bicyclists past Gregg Park, which has a porta-john facilities, picnic tables, and we will be installing this spring a Fix-It station, which is a standalone bicycle repair station. I believe you had some information on the table for that. That has already been purchased. The funds were provided by a grant from the St. Clair Foundation, so we're very excited about that. I think we will be the first one in St. Clair County to have a Fix-It station installed. And we will work with St. Clair County Parks and Recreation, Mark Brochu, the director there, and MDOT to implement these route changes. There's no requirements of the city as far as any markings or anything like that, but we will post the M20 route signs, which we already have on the Bridge to Bay portion. But again, it's kind of a win-win. It'll bring bicyclists downtown, give them an alternate route, and that way they can visit our restaurants and merchants downtown.
Motion to approve.
Oh,
How many bikes are we talking about?
pardon me?
How many bikes are we talking about?
Well, this is a part of the state of Michigan US bicycle routes. So we're considered the Route 20 is the east to west route. It's over 300 miles. It starts in Marine City and it goes all the way to Ludington. So if you're a bicyclist, you access this information through MDOT, and it is for recreational biking, but it's a lot of the serious bicyclists that do overnight camping, and it's kind of neat because this route starts at Marine City because it includes people coming over on the ferry. So it's kind of an international route too. The only other thing I wanted to add is we can also submit this, if we get the rerouting taken care of, we can submit this as supplemental information for our Palmer Park grant, because it shows that we do have a connecting bike route that goes along Palmer Park, and that may help us with our point system with
Right,
the
thank you.
grant.
All right, the motion's made, support. Any other questions?
Your Honor, this was presented to the Recreation Committee today, and it's gotten full endorsement from the committees. Just for your
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great, Trees, E, Recreation Department summer event schedule.
Yes, so we have a special events permit for our St. Clair Recreation special events, which includes our Friday night concerts that are held both at Palmer Park and the Park Plaza. It includes our outdoor movie event, the classic car show, our family bike parade, and our summer jam event at the skate park. So this special event permit was submitted to the police department and did get the approval from Police Chief Jefferson.
Busy, 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 huh?
Yes.
Motion to approve. Support.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go to F, harbor van replacement.
I'll take that. I'm going to ask that we don't necessarily approve the purchase tonight, but I would like to review the project with you. Katie's pulled some information together at the boat harbor. The van that we have is in need of replacement. Last year, the roof itself rusted through, and we ended up with a lot of water inside the van. It does have a pretty good odor to it, and at this point, it's not a very reliable vehicle. They do use it to shuttle people around town to different restaurants around the area as they come in on boats. So I would like to suggest that we replace the van. I think maybe we might want to look at something that's used. The van that we have currently has, I think, about 43,000 miles on it, and to purchase, I think, a new van for almost $27,000, to have it sit there for maybe 5 months out of the year might be a little bit much. So, again, I do believe we need to replace it. At your leisure, you're welcome to look through it. If we were to purchase a brand new one, it'd be better to do that than I would say lease it. If you look at some of the information here, it adds maybe $4,000 in additional cost if we were to lease it, and then buy it at the end of the lease. I know we could, I guess, lease one and never own it, just continue to lease one, but again, I don't think there's enough mileage there to do something like that. So again, I guess it's more informational at this point.
So you're not looking for an approval to purchase right now?
No, I'll come back to you.
All right. We will move to G. Historic District Commission members. The Historic District Commission was set up. We fulfilled our job. Now we have to reappoint a new commission to set different guidelines, and that's what I'm going to ask you to approve tonight. And those members at this point would be myself, DJ Boyer, Dan Lockwood for 3-year terms expiring December 31st, 2019. Chrissy Gorzin for a 2-year term expiring December 31st, 2018. Annette Sturdy for a 1-year term to expire December 31st, 2016. Robert Freehand for a 2-year term expiring December 31st, 2018. The only person that we would have to waive the residency waiver would be Robert Freehand.
Your Honor, I'd move to approve the Historic District Commission as presented.
Support.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let's go to number 10, claims and accounts, April 8, April 15, 2016.
Hearing no questions, Your Honor, I make a motion to approve as presented.
Support.
All right, motion made, support. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We'll go to number 11, public comment, public questions. Anybody have anything tonight? We'll go to the group. All right, we'll go to number 12, Mayor and City Council. I have a couple of things. Number one, if you pulled a petition to run for office, those are due tomorrow by 4 o'clock.
Correct.
And the next thing I want to tell you is this. It was brought to my attention, and I went online and checked. East China School Board member Alan Ritchley has a website, and on his website he gives a tutorial about the bond issue. And about 6 minutes into it, he says that the people of St. Clair should remember that the city of St. Clair in November will be asking for a 1.5 millage increase in taxes for roads. That is a completely inaccurate statement. There is no truth to that, Mr. Booth, is there?
Pardon me? How much? Sorry, looking at something else.
No truth to that.
No truth to that.
That, what Ritchley's saying, that we're not asking for any taxes in November. Is anybody up here aware of that?
No.
Yeah, so if you see that tutorial, it is completely inaccurate. That's what I was referring to.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for clarifying.
all right. Okay, I guess.
Sure
Mr.
he hasn't
Portman.
updated.
I have one thing, Your Honor. I have one thing. Same Mistakes coming up, April 30th. Get your ticket. All right. And the fireworks committee is just about ready to start their calling and soliciting, so anybody new that wants to give, we're more than happy to accept.
Okay.
Hearing nothing else, I make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you, everyone, for your patience. Thanks for coming. Be careful going home. Sorry.